said everything really. Big thanks to them. If I'll call for applause, honestly, but if we want, go ahead. We are a bit of a small crowd so far, but eventually we'll grow. Good stuff. Seems like another good PP play happened over there on the bring your own PC stuff. But we won't worry about that anymore. For now, we will do just Mania. And we'll start with 7 key as I promised. So if we can show the map pool on the screen at any moment, we'll be displaying the 11 maps that we have available to play. I'm not sure if we're going to play them all. We might just do 9 of them. And like I said, we will be starting featuring on my left no other than the legendary and almost as old as me, Kamikaze.
Hello everyone.
From Poland. Anything you want to say to the audience?
I'm going to beat him because I have gamer subs.
Let's go. I'm the Joy on the left, right here. Anything you want to say? Polish versus Polish.
Pozdrawiam, Benz do szefa.
Let's go. I didn't understand that, but I'm pretty sure it was fine. We couldn't get an Indonesian player, unfortunately. That would have been funny. We have this reverse Poland versus reverse Indonesian thing running on the Mania community for a while. But for now, we will be just doing, yeah, you're right, thank you. We will be doing just a Polish 1v1 for 7 key. So I think we're ready to swap to the main event. Actually, we're not, because I need to introduce my fellow commentator who's right next to me from France. Paturash?
Yes, that's me. I'll be co-commentating with Juan Cristal, and it's not actually the first time we'll be co-commentating. We've actually commentated together in the World Cups already.
Yep.
And other tournaments, probably.
How many years was it? 2 already? Or 3? 2 or 3 years, really. We've been doing Mania World Cup for a while. He's, of course, from France. He has won the 4-digit Mania World Cup just recently, so congratulations for that. I came second twice in a row, unfortunately. A little bit short. And yeah, for those who don't know me, I'm Juan Cristal from Argentina, and I'll be commentating this alongside Patu, at some point alongside Kamikaze. And yeah, I'm ready. I hope you are as well, and let's show some 7 key.
Let's go.
I guess we just use this ones instead.
Yeah, I guess that works for me.
Yep, that's fine for me.
Yeah, as long as we see the notes flying and we can put words on them.
That's true, right? Mania commentary is one of those things that it's so hard to get into, really, because there's so much happening at the same time. Like on standard, you only need to pay attention to, well, not only, right, but you only have one circle at a time at most, and with Mania you have like chords and different things and coordination and stuff. It's so much different.
Sure. Yeah,
but anyways.
Yeah, you start from 1v1. We're starting from 1v1, but then we'll be... what's going on?
Okay. We're essentially waiting for the screens to swap, and once the screens are swapped, we should be ready to start. I believe we will be starting with Angel's Ladder, which is, again, from now on, all 7 key maps. This one mapped by 1 key specifically. I believe this is Underjoy's pick, although we can't really tell for sure because we are essentially going to play all the maps anyway. But yeah, whenever we we have the main stage covering the match, we are ready to start. Go. Well, I mean, now I'm seeing myself. But hey, we are there, and we get to see the play for once.
Ah, let's go.
Oh my God, this is incredible! Like the fact that we are here doing this is certainly something I was not expecting to do. But anyways, as you can see on 7-key, we can see the players over there. We can see ourselves on the left, at least in my left. There we are.
Oh wow, this is
nice.
This is a whole new dimension to commentating. I've never seen this before. Like, we've usually been commentating like just gameplay-wise. Having player accounts and commentator accounts is a whole new experience. But what else is a new experience is for standard players is the mania
game mode in general, right?
Game mode, yeah.
Well, as you can see right now, this map features something we like to call light core streams for the most part. As you can see, right now we're seeing just simple streams, some simple stairs, just single notes. But as the map gets denser, we call those chord streams with doubles and triples and quads and everything really, because 7-key allows so much more opportunities compared to 4-key. You don't call them like jump streams or hand streams like we do on 4-key. We just call them chord streams due to how many different styles of levels of density that we have. There's not like such a specific terminology, and we call them light as well because even though most of them are doubles, as you saw just now, it is fairly light. Most of it in the middle is either a single step or just a double, and the BPM of course is not as fast as we could call it maybe a speed pig, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that from their accuracies actually. They are both above the 98%. By the way, the accuracies are working quite a little bit differently on laser than on stable.
Yeah, they surely are. As you can see, actually both players get a full combo on their first attempt. That's ridiculous. And I believe that's a point for Kamikaze, but just barely. As we have the score a little bit frozen right now, but I'm seeing the score right there on Underjoy's side, and it was 983k, and I believe Kamikaze was 984. So that will be point number 1 from, I wanted to say the Polish player, but both are. So round of applause for Kami for winning the first map. Congratulations. Underjoy, I know you can do better. What about the next one? Are we ready to go? All right. That was a light core stream map. It was mostly accuracy based, and that's something you see early on in the Mania World Cup. You usually do see that on other tournaments as well, but in Mania, ratio is such an important factor between 300 regulars and 300 perfects. You can see right now on the screen that you see this perfect judgment, and you eventually see grades judgments. Those grades are for 300s. Are you okay? For the perfects, I was saying, they are 300G, which means that they are the maximum score possible. Grades are just regular 300s, and if you eventually see a good, that is a 200, and any other miss is going to be displayed in a different color. I believe we have boos, bats, and miss. Remember when we did this question in Survivor that was like, what is the color of the special key in Mania? It was yellow. Well, in Laser, it's not yellow anymore. It's blue.
Oh, yeah.
And you should probably already notice that this specific map has some different components to the ones that we saw in the first one. This is a map that we like to call long node heavy, specifically on the coordination aspect, because as you can see, the map is not really dense and it's very slow, but the amount of finger independency and coordination that you need to play these kind of things is very, very high. It looks easy, but to coordinate your fingers to release at the correct time is very, very hard. And that's a feature that has been implemented in Scorpio 2 and has transitioned into the Laser client as well. You can see the accuracies are quite low despite the low BPM, and the long node releases have most of it's the biggest reason, right, why this is happening at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. There are many players who have developed a lot of their skill sets towards those long nodes. That guy right here belongs to those players. Was among the best of the world at some point.
At some point, yeah. Not right now, honestly, but at some point, surely. But this is what we call, again, the long no coordination pick for the most part. You see those doubles, for instance, that have different release timings. Those are usually the hardest to hit properly because you need to coordinate the release of one finger that is on the same hand as another finger who's still holding a long no for a longer period of time. So misses right there are something that are bound to happen about any tournament match. Right now, both players are holding quite well with very high combos. I believe Kami still holding the greatest combo here. Maybe even a full combo actually, 1400. Very good stuff here. Kami's actually popping off today. What's going on? And he calls himself a retired player, right? Oh, wait, that's a miss from him. Never mind. And that's what we call the commentator cards, ladies and gentlemen. Of course it's gonna happen.
Of course, that's gonna happen at least once.
And that, I believe, is another point for Kami. 7,000 points of difference in his favor. This is quite common in Mania to have very small score gaps in between two different players. So don't be too surprised if we see maybe a 3-digit difference at some point. That was it for the long no coordination pick. I think we can go to the next one if you guys don't mind. The next one, fairly popular map overall for the community. This is how do we call this? Hard emoji?
Hard, yeah.
Minor 3?
Less than 3, yeah.
Less than 3,
Less than 3, yeah.
This is what we call an SV map, by the way. And Pato's a specialist of this, so...
Yeah, absolutely. It's a banger. And yeah, as you can see, SV stands for... well, we usually call them like SV scroll velocity, but some of them may call them scrolling variation. And variation is the key name for this kind of skill set. So as you can see, the scroll speed is going up and down, and this is essentially the gimmick, and it makes things a lot more difficult to get good accuracy on.
Exactly, you really have to be an Aura player to play this kind of things properly or train the map a lot of times. If you think that is lag, that is not lag, that's just how the map is supposed to work. The patterns overall are always lighter in SV maps compared to others, so the main gimmick really becomes the visuals, trying to overcome your senses really, because you get tricked by your eyes while playing this. If you of course you cannot close your eyes, right, because you need to see the pattern, but you really need to focus on the oral component in order to play this kind of things properly. And as you can see, both players have more than enough practice on this, and it's why they are doing so well. Both are actually above the 98%, which is great already, and no misses by any of them.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are at that level of practice, the level of difference between those two players comes down to accuracy alone. And accuracy, I think, is the main component
of
the score.
He's gonna come down to this release. We don't get to see it. Oh, he just got stuck. But I think that's Underjoy's point. So now the scoreline will be 2-1. Congratulations, Underjoy, for winning your first map. He had to be on SVs. You know, that's something that is very frequent on World Cups in general, that the SV map is usually the one map that the underdog team usually takes because they practice so much more against the better team. And they take advantage of that because this is one of the maps that you don't want to miss practice on. Wait, you actually lost, Underjoy? No way. No. This is telling us that you won. I don't care what the scoreline says at the end. This is 2-1. Go for the next one now, guys.
We have the script in front of us, guys.
Yeah, we have to follow the script. Map number 4 is about to happen here. And you might be familiar with this song. It's a pretty popular one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember this having a map from like 2012, 2013 map by Tokiwa on 4-key. But 7-key, this is what we call delayed streams. As you can see, most of this is single streams that go faster than the actual music itself for the most part. We like to call this dumps in Osumania. As in standard you call them maybe overmapping, we call them dump streaming.
And I feel like delay is a concept that is kind of specific to 7K, and especially to, I guess, the game that Osmania is actually coming from, I guess, Beatmania 2DX. And actually, both Underjoy and Kamikaze are actually very proficient players of 2DX. And,
yep, they're struggling a little bit with this, which makes sense. Adapting to a different rhythm game is always hard. And although Osumania is the same in stable and in Osu Laser, it took us a lot of time to set up the skin and the offset and the setup properly. And this is one of the maps that you will see the biggest amount of difference between what a performance from a local standpoint looks like compared to maybe a live performance. So if we ever move tournaments to a LAN environment, we'll probably see people struggling a little bit more. And not only just on LAN, but also skins and another game. It's way harder to hit properly. Accuracies are down to 96 and 97 here, and we saw a lot of combo drops, mostly due to not being very, what is the word? Comfortable. Yeah, comfortable with Osu Laser yet. And that's a nice break screen. I didn't know this was a thing on multiplayer.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice feature. The countdown really adds to the quality of life that
it really does.
Like both commentators and spectators alike can actually enjoy at home.
This is what, again, big delay streams, very long ones actually, and you see some doubles in the middle, which adds to the density and makes the pattern so much harder. And right now it seems like Underjoy seems to be taking the lead, but it's very, very close. A couple misses there by him. It's gonna give maybe the lead back to Kamikaze now, and you can see now on the screen there, we see Underjoy's performance right there. Will he be able to take over? And it seems like he is on the very last stream. Oh, you have to give us confirmation from the chat because we all have this small break at the ending. And I believe, did you win this time, Underjoy? Yes, you did. Delay
nice,
streams is the pick for him. It is 2-2, right? He definitely won the SV as well.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is a very close match. I mean, we both know that both of those players, being from the same country, are also close in matching.
It was great. Yeah, we are counting score. This is 2-2 at the moment. So let's go for the next one, shall we? I believe we go again into Ellen's territory, but now a little bit denser. This is M2U, Promise. And honestly, anytime you see M2U and Mania together, you have to instantly think about long notes, because it just fits so well. When you have sounds that are long, of course, you do long notes. Unless you are me and you just map anything with long notes. But for the most part, this is a great artist for this kind of charts. And again, you see this theme of long note maps maybe being on the slower side, more focus on coordination, on release timing, especially since COE 2 was introduced back in 2016, I think it was. Either 2016 or 2015. Actually 2015, I think it was implemented for Mania for the first time.
Yeah, the paradoxical thing with long notes is that the slower you go in terms of coordination, the harder it is. At least for me.
It really is. And as you can see, this looks a little bit denser than what we saw on the previous pick. And we could even consider some of these patterns what we like to call inverse. Although we should maybe call this pseudo-inverse, because it's not like a noodle storm like this section specifically. This is also the reason why we call long notes noodles in Osumania. Don't they look like noodles? When you have like a wall of things, it looks like you're holding noodles with like 2 chopsticks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's making me a little bit hungry. I didn't eat yet.
But you know I skipped lunch as well.
No, I didn't skip lunch. I actually ate.
Oh my god.
Well, you should eat.
Yeah, I should, but back to the screen. We have his imbus section, proper imbus. As you see, you have to use a technique in Mania that's called negative reading, which is instead of reading the hits, you read the gaps in between the long notes, and therefore you can time your releases properly. If you have the BPM in your head and you can read the size of the gap, then you can figure out how long you need to release the note for just that one moment, and then tunnel vision the other fingers out of the pattern really. And as you can see right now, both players are struggling quite a bit. LNs are not necessarily a niche kill set, but one of the hardest ones to do. They come mostly from O to jam O, and we're speeding up a lot. And there it is now stabilizing once again. I believe Kamikaze has a very slight advantage. I'm shocked by how close these maps are being, man.
Yeah, I feel like the scoring in Laser, it's much closer than it is on Stable. And the scoring system on Laser, the difference between the scoring system on Laser and the scoring system on Stable, and even on Cutting Edge, Score V2, is actually something that we should talk about. Actually, the scoring system on Laser is getting reworked, and essentially what we're working on Laser right now is kind of a score v3.
Yeah, essentially it is sort of a score v3, of course still really early in testing. We should go with the next map already. I believe it's Fly, the next map that we have prepared, but I'm not sure. We'll see confirmation real quick. Oh, it seems like it's going to be a very small change. And yeah, oh, I like this song. It's going to be Fly after all, I think. There it is. We're starting now with song, I believe this is number 6. And it's 3-2 in favor of Kamikaze.
Ooh. I know this one from 4K, but the 7K version is also looking spicy.
Have a little bit of a break here.
Yeah,
7K players in general have like this tendency of never skipping the breaks, and I never understood why.
Yeah.
But I think Kami is the one that's doing that.
Yeah. Also, look at the keyboards, man.
Yeah, that's nice.
We have like live keyboard feedback, which is really nice compared to the stable client. We've been used to just the regular stable or cutting edge client on our tournaments.
Yeah, and you can see on the left and on the right side as well the judgment timing windows, and that's usually what we look at to tell whether a player is hitting early or hitting late, to understand why they are rushing or why they are dragging. In maps like this, well, you can see the score. Oh, this is an outer speed map. Yeah. Oh, you can see the ghost stabs there, right? See, pay attention to the column number 7 there, or column number 1 now. See how the column just flashes for a second before the note is getting touched, and that's because they are applying a technique that is called ghost stabbing to keep the rhythm up and not miss that Lelen, just like they did now. Laser is a bit unstable compared to a stable client when it comes to LN releases and big SV changes like the ones we're seeing right now. You'll see that on 4Key as well, and it's mostly due to the BPM gimmicks that we like to use in Mania overall. This one, of course, features those. The only way you can make this kind of SVs as sudden as these really are with just red line changes instead of actual green line changes.
Yeah, so I would like to say something about this as an SV mapper myself. I would like to see some of, I guess, less limitations on values of SVs, because the reason why we have to alter the BPM on those maps is to circumvent the limits that we have on the values of SVs. We cannot go below 0. We cannot even use 0 as a value, and we cannot go above 10 as a value for SV.
Yep. But just recently got changed as well. You can do 0.01, which was not a thing before. And it seems like we are done with the SV as well. And this time I believe it was Underjoy who won. Am I correct? Yes. This is 3-3 now then, so looking very close. Let's go for map number 7. Oh, do we have Camellia? Is this Camellia? No, it's Cuvelia. Almost. You can see there on the map pool. Oh, you're spoiling us the best map of the pool, which is gonna come soon. But that's fine. There is the brain thing you can see there. That's the map we want all of you to see. But now we go straight into. I forgot the name of this. Tenku no Yoake, was it?
I forgot it, but
I'm so bad with Japanese names for like songs. But anyway, this is a very popular song in Mania. 4Key has used it in like at least 5 different map sets, and I think 7Key along the rail as well, like 4 or 5. And this one is, as you can already tell, a little bit faster and a bit denser when it comes to core streams. Here, you can see, compared to the previous maps, this isn't just doubles. You have single streams with dumps and hybrid patterns with many LNs in the middle. And it's essentially like an all-rounder hybrid with heavier core streams compared to what we saw previously. And this pattern is starting to look a little bit nutty.
oh wow, I'm already getting lost.
Yep, you can see like the 1-6 gaps there, or 1-8s being followed by the players. And they managed to keep combo fairly well. Oh, never mind, Kamikaze just misses there, but Underjoy holding the 500 there. It's actually kind of curious, right? I'm not used to see the scores on the top of the screen, but like above the playing ground. I'm so used to see it on the edges. So it takes me a bit to get used to the combo, really. But as you can see, the pattern is starting to increase in difficulty, especially because of this combination of LNs and rice. We call rice the single notes instead of long notes or noodles because Usually the two foods that you eat are noodles and rice, and they kind of look like rice anyway. So we like to relate everything with food and animals in those Mania.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the short things and we've got the long things.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about that. We're gonna go to territory that we don't want to talk about, I think. If you know what I mean. But anyways, we're getting...
About the UI, like you've got all the information in the same place. So as a spectator, you just really only have to look at one place.
How is this so close? This was Underjoy's again, isn't it? Let me check there. It was Underjoy. Yeah, that's another point for him. Does this mean that we are 4-3 in favor of Underjoy? Is this a comeback for the first time? I believe so. 1K points of difference. Very, very close. And now into the next one, which is Soka de Aro Toshita Mono. Oh, and the next one is going to be the funny one. It was actually Underjoy who won the last one. And now we are ready to start with, I believe this is map number 8. Soka de Aro. And this looks like Toho music, if that is correct. And yeah, this Senya, the difficulty is lunatic. This just screams a lens again. Senya is just one of those areas that you expect to see a lens for the most part. But no, we're seeing chord streams.
Yeah, you might notice that we are actually using rates. This is actually on 1.1, I think. And this is quite interesting to note in tournaments. We regularly use rates for our tournament maps. Like map pooling really requires us to use those rates to actually target the right amount of difficulty for the map pool.
Exactly. I'm not sure if Standard does this. I don't think they use rates for the most part. But in Mania, a difference of just 5 ABM can make or break a player. Because when you have patterns that are as dense on 200 or on 205, it really starts to push the limits of what someone is just physically capable of doing. And that's why we use rates. Sometimes we want something to be specifically at a certain BPM with this correct amount of density, and you can just find that map, but you have a map that is slow enough and will do the job. You just rate it up, and that's something we see very, very often on just 4-key and 7-key tournaments for the most part. And as you can see right now, this is very heavy chord streaming. It was not a lens, I got G-baited, but very, very, very dense. As you see, there's a lot of quads and even 5 notes chords. Some people even have issues with this kind of map because of ghosting, so you really need to put your setup in the right key layout in order to hit accurately and not skip any note due to ghosting.
Yeah, speaking of key layouts, like some 7K players like to play with their left thumb, and some players to play with their right thumb. You can actually choose which thumb you use for the middle key, the special key as we call them.
Yeah, there are some Matlas even, like Alex Lucas from Argentina, that plays with the pinky instead of the thumb. So he plays 4 fingers on one hand and 3 on the other. There are some players that do that, but it's the exception rather than the norm. And as you can see right here, we see Kamikaze starting to struggle a little bit with this kind of difficulty already on the 94%. A little bit of some LN patterns entering to the last 40 seconds of the song. You can see it on the bottom of the screen as well, over there. Well, actually, how do I point it? There, like there, you can see that's the amount of time that the map has passed through, and the other side, you see the remaining of it is about 30 seconds. And it seems like Underjoy is going to be comfortably take this one as he's on the edge of the S rank, while Kami is struggling a little bit with this level of density, which makes sense considering that Kami is not playing Mania as often as of late compared to Underjoy. His accuracy has always been excellent, and that's why the early picks were a little bit on his favor. But now, when it comes to the harder stuff, Underjoy seems to be having the upper hand, if it's just so slightly. And that is another point for the player right here. Underjoy celebrating, good stuff. And I believe that's 5-3, correct me if I'm wrong. So that means we are on match point now. So maybe we can seal the deal with some brain power, potentially. We're going to get into the another thing, yes. This is also something that's fairly common on 7-key. We have always seen at least one meme map on every poll in the 7-key Mania World Cup, I believe. And this would be the one we choose for this time. And it's, of course, no other than the old Brain Power. You can see the brain on the background. I think this is mapped by Jinjin or Blocko. Or both.
Blocko. Or both, maybe, yeah. That might actually be correct, yeah.
But this is essentially just a pure hybrid thing. So you have these sections that are like slow chord jacks. Not chord jacks, rather chord streams. And some dumping in the middle with some streams here. And just the eventual LNs in the middle. So you really have to be quite an all-rounder to play a map like this.
Yeah, like for Mania, sometimes following the song is not enough in terms of difficulty. So you kind of have to be a little bit liberal.
I mean, creative. I think that's the right word, right?
Yeah,
For example, streams like those are very fast, and in 4-key they will be pretty hard to hit. But on 7-key, because you have 7 columns, you don't put as much strain on your hands as you will do on 4-key. But now we're about to enter the meme section, so let's just let the song do its thing.
Yeah, what I like about 7K is that there's so much space to actually let your creativity go wild. And it's actually a common thing in BNS. Charters like to kind of draw things with their map. And like to do symmetrical patterns, for example. I like to draw certain things like a tree with the nodes.
We can see how the client is tanking a little bit with this level of density. Look at those patterns. Like, those patterns are just brutal. And they take so much space on the screen that the client just cannot process it. And that's one of the things that Laser is still working on, which is optimizations, I think, to this kind of things. But when the maps are not as dense, it really looks great. So who won that, guys? It was Underjoy again. That means it's 6-3, which means that we should maybe showcase the tiebreaker that we have prepared and then transition to 4-key. How do you like that, guys? Or do you have any other map you want to play? Let's go to tiebreaker then. We'll display the tiebreaker, which is usually a very special type of map in Mania as well, because it features a little bit of everything like you normally do with every tiebreaker in every game mode. And if the client can take this, I would be very proud for the client, because this is very dense. And it's, of course, no other than Camellia and Blocko. Oh, I was about to do the same thing as you were doing, and then I realized that we can't really do anything about it. We just need to download the map, and we will be ready to go.
Yeah, it's out of our control. We cannot reach for that laptop which is in front of us.
There it is. It's working. It is downloading, and there we go. We're ready to start. Players are already playing, as you can see. Yeah. And this is Camellia. Camellia is one of the most popular artists, I think, in order to make tiebreakers off of Mania.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. There have been a lot. I mean, a lot of tiebreakers on Camellia songs.
Yep. And we see many different mappers in general, but 7-key tiebreakers and 4-key tiebreakers, they're usually reserved for that as very special group of mappers in general. This is specifically mapped by Blocko again, which is one of the biggest mappers that the 7-key community has seen, at least Mania-wise. And like I said, this features a little bit of everything. You have some chords, you have these faster streams with some long notes in between, and it just goes crazy every time. As the song grows in intensity, so does the map. It gets denser, it introduces more difficult patterns, more tighter releases, and hard to coordinate things like this one. For instance, when you're holding the middle finger and you have to do the release thing on the two notes that are separate, it really requires you a lot of finger independency. Columns 1 and 3 with the spacebar are one of the hardest things to do. And in general, long note anchots on the first and second column are what people struggles the most. And we see here some actual jacks as well, which is not a pattern we talked a lot about. They're not as common in 7-key as they are for 4-key, because 7-key is more about finesse than 4-key, which is more about like speed and brutality, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, you're about to see that in the 4K showcase in a bit, as we will switch players after this 7K showcase. But overall, this map features absolutely everything but the kitchen sink. And
And there we go. Oh, that's a funny release pattern over there. Hitting a 7 notes at the same time and releasing all at different times. That is very hard to coordinate, especially with so many fingers. And into this drop, you can see a lot of burst and a lot of chords in the middle that breaks the pace of that fast stream. That is a very common thing to do in Mania as well. And those patterns that you just saw right there, those releases all being disjointed at the same time, with notes on top of them, that's what we like to call shields.
Yeah.
Because they look like a shield, right?
Yeah, you really like shields. I know you really like shields.
Oh yeah.
You
If
use them a lot.
If you ever play my maps, you will definitely see a lot of shielding and reverse shielding. And as you can see right now, this is a bit of a calmer section, a transition into what's going to be the final drop of the song, which is going to feature a little bit of everything that we have been talking so far. And as you can see, both players are right next to each other with the 94.75%. They are literally tied in accuracy. And as the client is tanking a little bit, we see the long note section. This is also very frequent on tiebreakers to have sort of like a hybrid portion, a rise portion, and a long note portion. And usually the climax of the song, which has these longer sounds, feature this kind of long note patterns. The rustiness of this actually let us see the patterns a little bit more clearly, and you can apply this reverse technique that I mentioned earlier, that's negative reading, in order to hit the patterns properly. But it really comes to personal preference. Some people, when there's not such harsh imbus like this, which is more like a pseudo imbus, they would prefer to read it normally instead of using reverse. But it's really just a visual thing. 7-key players also like to split patterns horizontally instead of vertically, which is something that mostly comes from 4-key. But 7-key you can do both, really, considering how many keys you have to worry about.
Yeah, it's quite funny to watch actually. You can see the accuracy is like 93%. You might worry about that accuracy, but on laser, compared to stable, a 93% would probably be equivalent to a 97 on score.
I think 96, but yeah.
96, 97, so yeah, also.
And as the song is about to conclude, we only have 14 seconds. I believe the map got delayed a bit, so we won't get to see the ending, but you can see the LM patterns shaping themselves a little bit. And as we try to get in sync, oh, look at how fast that's going. Oh my god. Yeah, Underjoy Kamikaze is just speed running the rest of the chart. But at the end, I believe the tiebreaker goes to Kamikaze by 4,000 points. So even though the match ended up being in favor of Underjoy, Kamikaze takes the tiebreaker. So well played by the two of them. Round of applause for the 7-key players here. Thank you, Underjoy and Kami, for your hard work and all the preparation you put into this game that we all love, and this showcase specifically that we work so hard for. And I think we'll take maybe 1 or 2 minutes of break while we set up the 4-key scene. We're going to have 3 players joining us this time. Underjoy is going to join us later as well. Nice handshake. Very cool. Kami is going to join us in the commentary as well for 4-key at some point because Patu's going to play. How about we swap now, commentators? You think you'll be up for it? You get some warm-up maybe, getting ready?
I mean, I can play. I can play.
Go for it then, man.
Let's go.
A round of applause as well for Patu, who spent this time commentating with me and is going to get to play some of the 4-key maps in the showcase that is about to happen. As you see the players starting to enter here, we see Danny PX, we see Night Narumi, we see Siri, and we see, of course, Patu. Those 4 are going to be playing the first couple maps. Was so lovely. This is dedicated to Komirin, to Kenja. If she's watching, I hope she is. But if she's not, she's going to watch at the bottom. She's going to find this very funny. We have our Shark Rider here on the stage with Patu on the background. But yeah, once you guys are ready to go, give me a signal and we will start with the 4-key showcase. We're going to start with some easy stuff for the most part. Well, not necessarily easy, but accuracy based, like we mentioned before. Accuracy is such an important component for Mania. ratio specifically. And we have 3 players who are very well versed in that department. Nainarumi just played a qualifier for the Netherlands, by the way, of the 4K Mania World Cup. He literally finished an hour ago. And I believe Too Fast was as well, just a moment as well, playing, I think it was 3 or 4 of the maps that the Netherlands team was trying to, of course, get good scores on to qualify with the best seed possible. And Siri, very close to making it to the German team, but he surely will display his skills this time around on the Mania 4K showcase. And there we go, a swap of screens. Now you can see myself and the other players setting themselves up. We see them joining Sirvi, Nainarumi, and Danny PX. Whenever you guys are ready, give me a signal and we are good to go. They're changing their layouts, I believe, their skins, their offset, their scroll speed, all those things that you really need to worry about on the 4K scene of things. You gonna join me back?
I mean, I'm not playing the first few songs, so I can just stay here for now.
You can stay here. And as we are setting up, I'll tell you that 4K is a bit different than 7K. In 7K we saw a lot of pattern diversity, we saw a lot of different skill sets, which Mania on 4K also has, but it may be in a different way, because speed can reach levels that are more challenging, well, not necessarily more challenging, but in a playable scale, 4K can get faster than 7K due to just requiring 4 fingers instead of 7. The fact that you can coordinate 4 fingers a little bit better on BPMs as high to like 370, I think. Most like best players are around 370 BPM single streams. Maybe more?
Maybe a little bit more. It kind of depends on the player, but the fact that you have less keys to worry about means that you can put all your effort into just be as fast as you can.
Yep, surely. And we will be displaying a little bit of everything here as well. This is a 1v1v1 format, so we're just going to be playing a bunch of maps and record who are the winners. And we'll close it up with a tiebreaker that we prepared for 4-digit Mania World Cup finals. I think it was last year. Specifically, it's a very, very hard map. And we'll just go through first some chill maps. We go through SVs, we go through LNs, we go through Rise. Then we will start to increase the level of difficulty, and as we increase the level of difficulty, we'll be swapping the players around as well, so they can showcase their skills. They've all been working a lot towards this. So I believe after you give me the signal, are you good to go, guys? All right, then. We should be ready to start. Then we're going to start with Watercolor, a song from Pendulum. And yeah, guys, take it away. Annie, thank you. Yep, we had the host on the wrong person. So now we are ready to go now. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is one of the cool features I like to display about the laser client now. You see a 3-way display here, which is not something we can really do easily with the tournament client that we are all know. Because it's 4K, it's going to get very dense at some point, but the tournament client should hold it a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, like I've seen a little bit, I've seen a glimpse behind the scenes, and it's so much easier to set up. I have streamed matches on the stable client before, like using a combination of the OSU tournament client and the cutting edge client together. It's kind of a mess, but behind the scenes it looks so clean. It looks so easy to set up actually on laser.
It really is, but as you can see, this is what we like to call light jump stream map. You see those doubles on the middle of the patterns, those are called jumps in 4K. The term comes from DDR, the game that you can play over there on the side. And they're called jumps because in order to hit them, you need to jump. You use both of your feet. And we eventually have the triples, which we like to call hands, for the same reasons, because you also need to use your hand if you want to hit that note on a DDR setup. We call the 4-note quads, because you use all of your extremities. And for the single notes, we call them steps. Other than that, this is just a simple accuracy-oriented map with just light jump streams for the most part. And this is something that we see very, very often early on tournaments. This is a ratio tester, a tunnel vision tester, and you'll see scores as high as 99.98, 99.99 on tournament setups, depending on the player. We have even seen Lothus, a player from Brazil, get on a round 16 Kojak map just 8 regular 300s on a map with about 1500 objects, which is completely ridiculous considering that there's only 14 milliseconds of timing window in order to hit a perfect 300 compared to a normal 300.
Yeah, you can see the accuracies here. They're a little bit different from our 7K showcase. You can see Narumi is around 99.44 here. Well, lost some accuracy right here. Nice curves.
Good stuff.
Yeah, the thing is, this 99.4 might actually be equivalent to kind of a 99.8 or so, or at least was until Narumi got a 200 out of nowhere.
Well, seems to be leading the charge so far, though. It's the 1v1v1. We see every player holding their S ranks at the moment. Sirve catching up with Narumi, though, as time goes on. Let's see if he can catch him with time.
I mean, we're not playing catch, we're playing Mania.
Oh my god. You had to make that joke, of course. We're the masters of puns in Mania as well, I'll say. Actually, catch is very close, but
yeah, well.
I like to joke around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so now we're starting into a bit of a longer jump string section again here. And once this is done in about, 40 seconds, we'll transition into the next zone. It seems like Narumi is comfortably on the lead. You can see the perfects there rolling, very, very, very sharp accuracy there. You see the grade once in a while, that's a regular 300 compared to the perfect 300G or 300 Rainbow that we are used to see, but no 200s being dropped at all. Full combos by the 3 players though, which is already quite good on itself. Yeah. And after this last 10 seconds are over, we'll declare a winner.
Yeah, Survey is actually kind of coming close to Narumi. Narumi with 99.37 and Survey with 99.3.
Yep, and that's Narumi. Narumi takes the number 1 spot here. Good stuff from the player who just made played the qualifiers for the Netherlands in the Mania World Cup 4 key just a moment ago. I think no, you don't have the sticker on your back anymore. You maybe want to get it again. Really, it was super fun to watch. But now we go into what we call early LNs, Boys in Kaleidosphere. And this is a map that has again been featured on tournaments before. And the main reason for it is, as we have accuracy testers for rise and jump streams, like we said, we also need to feature the same kind of things, but for long nose really. So whenever you guys are ready, you can start. This one, again, a bit on the simpler side, but with some hard to coordinate releases, and it mostly tests consistency of more than anything else really. And it's also a very nice song, right? We all love Millie.
Oh yeah, Millie.
Feature artist when?
Yeah. Millie does some really great bangers.
Yeah, they surely do.
Yeah, right now, all of those players actually who are playing on scene have been getting used to the laser game. They like us Mania players are still playing on the stable client for tournaments and stuff, because no tournament actually dares to use laser yet for as the main scene.
Yeah, they needed to take a longer time to getting set up and getting used to it. This is very tricky to do, really. You probably see it on the later maps. If you're consistent enough, you do fine pretty much on any setup if a map is like on your control level. Like I said, you can do, let's arbitrarily say that 5 stars is your like average performance. Any setup on 3 stars you probably do just fine, really.
Mm-hmm.
And this is no exception. I think in this kind of maps where these players are super proficient with, they can score relatively well. And they surely are. You can see Narumi again on the 99.44. and Survey on the 99.3. Those scores are very, very good. Same for Danny, actually. Every player above the 98 is already very impressive. Don't get used to it. It's not going to happen on the later game.
Yeah. This is basically what we call accuracy maps with these players.
Yep, exactly. And with that out of the way, let's go to map number 3, if you will. At some point, we're going to start doing player swaps, so whenever that happens, you two should get ready. And
Yeah,
by
we're
you two,
doing,
I mean those two in the audience who are going to join us real soon.
Yeah, we're doing pit stops.
Oh, we're going SVs now. Like I said, on 7 key you have SVs, but they're usually light. 4 key likes to do it a little bit rougher. Let's say it that way.
Yeah, we like this SV. Gimme the Blood was one of the most popular SVs from last year's MWC. I think this was featured in round 16.
Round 16, yeah.
Round 16, yeah. And thanks Hyper. Shoutouts to Hyper.
Yeah, and as you can see, this features a lot of changes in speed, and this is something that 4 key is a bit more used to than 7 key because it's something that you get to see on DDR as well. 7 key in other game modes, like in other games rather, like BMS, like Auto Jam, and etc. They don't feature slider velocity changes as much as we do, and you have those like stops and bumps. Those SVs are very, very challenging, especially if you're sight reading. But of course, all these players had a very decent amount of practice into this, and they are very, very proficient on it. And I believe there's no misses so far. Oh, actually there is. Yeah, there's one by Sirvi, but still very, very high accuracy on the 98.5.
What a banger.
It is a banger.
I really like playing this. I really like coming back to this and just playing it just for fun.
Oh my god, yeah, that stop is evil. Oh, those stops are just so evil. Usually you use some sort of ghost stabbing technique in order to hit it right, like Narumi is doing, I think. Oh, and those notes that you just saw there that are very close to each other, we call them graces as well. Grace notes because you play like the piano like a grace. So, we use terminology basically from other games or just piano patterns, for the most part.
Yeah, basically we take a lot of inspiration from basically everywhere.
Yeah, we surely do. And as the map speeds up, the scroll speed goes up as well. As you know, Mania has the option to customize the velocity of that the nodes take to fall into the receptors. But with SV maps, that doesn't matter really, because they will get changed arbitrarily, or not arbitrarily, but trying to follow the music in any way. So regardless of the scroll speed you just use, you're going to have some bumps and some changes. And as we see, at the end of the day, it seems like Narumi took again map number 3 with a very impressive 99.25. And I believe this is the call for a swap, isn't it? Or we are playing one more map?
I
We are
think
swapping.
this is time for the swap. And,
Alright, so we're going to have a player swap for the first time. This is something we will do 3 times during this showcase in order to display harder maps and different types of skill sets. Mania is, I think, the game mode that is closest to standard in terms of having sort of one tricks kind of type of players. For instance, Narumi is extremely good at accuracy and SVs, but when the maps get starting to get harder, he usually gets subbed in, other than the SV maps. Paturash is kind of the same, just that he's a bit more proficient on Rise specifically, and he really likes to do SVs as well. And just everyone really has their own like skill set that they are proficient with. Survey, of course, being accuracy oriented for the most part. And the players that we're going to see in just a moment joining us, Too Fast For You, Underjoy, and myself, we are all proficients. We have proficiencies on different things. I'm specifically known for being very good at long note releases, which is very, very niche. And Too Fast is being known for being very fast. And also playing very good lens as well, specifically when it comes to coordination. And for Underjoy, he's just a very good all-rounder. And now that we have the swap ready, we see Paturash joining the stage as a player this time, so that means I get to commentate myself alone. I cry a little bit, but I'll live with it. By the way, the map that we're going to be playing next, if I recall correctly, is Ochoko Restless. This song that we're about to witness is Cream's banger. All over the place. One of my favorite songs of the pool right now. And after this one, I think we have the second swap. We play a couple, no, actually 2 more maps, then we do some swaps. 1 more map, another swap, and then we call it a day. We play 4 more maps, and that's it for the showcase. It's 11:10 p.m. at COE 2022, and as Patu gets set up, I believe he should be changing his skin right now. And as soon as he's ready, we shall get started. Oh, now we have a proper referee for the match, huh? In some way, over there, Danny PX now taking the show to a different level. Yo. So, usually this is a place where I will make a joke, but I can only think of jokes in Spanish, so I can't really do it. But I think we are ready, so that was a joke, me not being able to make jokes. So whenever Pato is ready, and it seems like he is, nope, just one more second. I could just tell the joke in Spanish, right? I don't think anyone's gonna mind, right? It's very easy, it's very short, very simple. You know that there's like this thing that you like to tell to kids, like, there were once upon a time, something fairy tale. Well, we like to do that in Spanish too. We say había una vez, like once upon a time, and for me it was había una vez trus. For those who got it, I hope you liked it. It was an awful joke, and we are ready to start now with the new player, Paturash, joining the screen. And here we go. This map in general is what we like to call sort of a hybrid, really, and it's mostly focused about dealing with long nodes and with rise at the same time. The patterns right now are very disjoint to one another, so you don't really have to worry too much about coordination. But as it progresses, it introduces rise in between the holes, which makes it very, very tricky to hit properly without combo dropping. And the song is just a banger, really. A bit of a long node pattern over there, and every player seems to be holding very, very strongly. The accuracies are actually insane. What? Everyone is holding above the 99%. We see a player swap as well on the screen. You see Narumi now on top right and Sirve on top left, with Paturash joining on the bottom. I'm not gonna make any more comments about that. And as we transition into this sort of long node oriented bits, this is something that gets challenging to some people. This is something that many players actually do, which is changing skins for maps like this and for long nodes. We have something that is called, well, it doesn't really have a proper name, but players like to remove the very end of a long node in order to release properly, visually, and that makes the release timings a little bit better. And for maps like this, which features a little bit of rise and long nodes combined, that's something that screams using skins like those to help your reading just a little bit. That's very small advantage. It means everything. And we see the scores actually very, very close. Survey and Narumi holding literally the exact same accuracy, with Paturash not behind at all. A single miss can make or break this. Who will take it after all, though? Oh, that was a great at the very end by Survey. I think it is going to be Narumi once more. Narumi, you just crushed us. You just crushed that so hard. Wasn't you? We're playing one more map, and then we do the next swap. Good job there by Narumi with a 995,000 points score, just behind Survey, 100 points behind by really, really, really close show here. And as we get a bit of a VIP camera over here on top, we can see Paturash's screen. And as soon as we are ready, we'll go with what is my personal favorite map of the pool, which is SBs, but harder. Why do I say this? Because we're about to witness Mafane, a map that was featured for the finals of Mania World Cup, I think last year. Was it last year? Or 2 years ago? And it's insanely tricky because it has a gimmick that literally involves you memorizing the map. So this is what we call an SV memorization map. You need to play it a couple times to know how the notes are telegraphed in order to hit them properly. And I'll explain it very briefly when the pattern comes around. But just in general, this map is full of speed changes all over the place, and you can see it already from the start. This long also slaps, but that's just all for COE Mania, really. And as you see, this is what we call a slow jam, fitting, of course, the pace of the song going a little bit slower. You need to get used and adjust to that change of velocity. Those are speed ups, and this is what we call bumps. And as we are about to start with the main gimmick of the song, you're gonna see one long note that is gonna be held, and probably everyone is gonna break on it because it's a 0 BPM gimmick with long notes, and Osu Laser does not like it. But the long note actually telegraphs you the pattern, and you will see it right now. Yep, you can barely see the pattern because it teleports so fast. That is because the long note is telegraphing you what to do. If you see properly, the long note is the column that you have to hit right after the pattern teleports. So you see there is like long note, then 4-2, 4-2. That's because the chord is a 4-2, and the long note telegraph which is the note that you have to hit first. These are some techniques that SV players use to not have to memorize the entire thing, but just remember how to read the gimmick in a way that doesn't involve them memorizing everything. And that is something that is very common to see on like finals and semi-finals of 4 Mania World Cup, and just like the hardest SV charts in general. Some maps just like to do it without any sort of telegraphy, and you just have to memorize them. But maps like this that have this telegraph theme are so much nicer to play, because when you can read the pattern, even though you cannot see it, it just feels so much better. And Methane is a great example of that. And we are about to enter to the last bit of the song here, which is the gimmick essentially repeated one more time. And you can see it and pay attention now. This time we don't have a long note to telegraphs, but we know that right next to the double on the column that is quite next to it is where you have to hit. But these ones are not as fast enough. You can probably just read them on your own. That teleport with ELNs, you can just pay attention. That is 1-3, and then you go 3-1-3. The next one, I think there is one more. Yeah, this one is, let's see. Oh wait, we don't have any more of that pattern. Oh wait, I tried to call it again, but we have no patterns anymore. It's just about reading now. But you got it. I believe on the last one it was a 3-1, 3-1 SV telegraph. And I believe the one who, oh actually we get to see the screen display. That's nice. The winner again, Narumi. Narumi just absolutely destroyed everyone. Good job, Narumi. Round of applause for Narumi, who's now gonna get swapped out. Very, very well done. 4 Mania World Cup caliber, he just played the Netherlands qualifiers, makes sense. And he also specialized on SBs, so he has the upper hand on maps like this. But Patu and Survey were actually fairly close to him, as you can see. No more than 10,000 points of difference between any of the players, other than I think Patu were like 14,000 points of difference only. But now we have Too Fast for You joining us on the stage as well. He's gonna set up his skin real quick, and we will transition into what's gonna be the stage of mid-game. We like to call it in Mania. We usually separate maps in early, mid, and late game, and we repeat the skill sets. But with Long Nose, we try to feature more releases and imbers as we start to enter into the mid portion of it. With Rise, we try to introduce something called Core Jacks and Mini Jacks. And for SVs, we're not going to be displaying anymore because we just saw a final SVs, but we try to introduce telegraphed patterns, very harsh slow jams, and very low and high scroll speed, very big amounts of swaps and bumps. But yeah, whenever you are ready, Too Fast, give me a signal and we will start with the next map. And I have no more jokes for you folks, I'm sorry. I hope the Avestruz one was a good one. See, if there are Spanish people watching the stream, I hope you laughed at it because it took me a long time to think about it. The first time they told it to me, I was like, where's the joke? But once you hear it 2 times, it really comes to you. Oh boy, today has been a long day at COE, wasn't it? And we're almost done, don't worry. 11:20 almost. Are you good? Too fast? Hope he is. Good? All right, then we should be getting started now with the next map, which I believe is going to be, I cannot read the name of the song from there, so. Yeah, this is Prior the Question. and this is chord jacks. So, like I said, we like to distribute map pools and structure map pools in a way that some certain skill sets get only tested from the mid game or only for the late game. And chord jacks is one of those kind of skill sets that we really like to test just for those specific scenarios. And why do we call this chord jacks? Well, in Mania, a jack is what we call two notes in the same column right after each other. That's called a jack. And anytime you have 2 or 3 notes at the same time in the same row, we call them chords. So if you have both of those things combined, then we have chord jacks. And that's essentially what it is. This is the best way to test an accuracy for a player. If they can play the density, they will absolutely crush this. And a better example, like the one I gave you, is just Lotus. Lotus is a monster, former 4Key Mania World Cup champion from Brazil. And these players, of course, also have their own experience with the chord jacks as well. And this is the place where accuracy players get to shine, and we can see that on the screen. He just missed it. But he's still holding very, very good accuracy. The commentator curse just never goes away, it seems. It has been a thing since 2015, and I'm so sad that I still do it and it still works. But as you can see, these kind of maps are mostly tunnel vision. They don't offer much more than just chord jacks, so it's really a do or don't type of map. Some players do extremely well with this, and some players just cannot play it at all. I am one of those players. I am very, very bad at chord jacks, and once they get fast enough to the point that I cannot physically hit them anymore, I just cannot even pass them. And this one, fortunately, was good enough for every single player in the lobby, and I believe this is Survey's point, so good job, man. Great stuff there, taking the chord jacks. And we will transition now into another Rise skill set that we like to display, usually in early game, but mostly from mid game onwards. And it's something we like to call tech. And also Standard has this as well, techie patterns, which have usually weird snaps and doubles and wonky sliders for the most part. Mania does it in a similar way, usually broken patterns, usually very weird snaps, usually a lot of mini jacks and density. And overall, the patterns look extremely stacked, and the main difficulty is just physically hit them and read them properly. If you don't read tech properly, you're just going to hit extremely late or extremely early. So it's a combination of reading properly and just having the physical capabilities. And this is a perfect song to display this kind of skill set. Just listen to it. How broken the song is already. It really does justice for this kind of maps, really, the technical aspect. You have those 1-4 jacks over there. And very, very strange snaps. I believe they are 12s, actually, here. And it gets even worse as time goes on. This is one of my favorite songs ever, actually. We call them Phone Number. I will not name the whole thing because it's a bunch of numbers. Try to call it, though, at some point. Maybe they'll answer. And as we can see, the song starts to build up, and therefore the tech starts rolling. Most of the things is what we call broken jump stream, because you have jump stream going for a bit, but then you have a small break of maybe a gap of 1/4 or a gap of 1/2, and the patterns are just very, very tricky to hit because of how they are structured. They are like very, very trilly. They are sometimes one-hand trilly as well, and they're not very flowy. You don't see a lot of stairs. Most of them are like on either Dorito shapes, which are like back and forths, or just broken all the way through, like trail patterns. And this is just evil. These longness are very, very evil because you're so used to play the tech and the rise that having those release timings, those not short enough to be staccatos, those that you just tap and they are done for, you have to actually pay attention and focus on the release timing as well. And this tech section is more about understanding the rhythm, being one with the music in some way, so you can hit the pattern, or rather the chord, at the correct timing. And of course, we will close this map, this last 20 seconds, with more climax there, more broken jump stream for the most part. Good stuff here by every player, really. I believe we are seeing FCs by literally everybody, which is quite impressive. Oh my god, I'm done. I'm done. I am just done. Fatu gets the miss at the end, unfortunately, but very great performance anyway by all of them. Hitting S ranks on this kind of things, especially on a setup that we didn't have enough time to really practice all that much, is certainly incredible. And I guess this is Servi again who wins it just by 2,000 points. Very well done. Really showing off their accuracy skills over there. And I believe this will be the final player swap of the day. And Pat was going to join me again on the commentary. Well, not quite join me because I think I'm supposed to play, aren't I?
I mean, don't you want to play while commentating?
I mean, no, I'm not playing while commentating. I could, but we don't have a mic to do it, so maybe we do it for fun at one moment, but no, you take it away. I know you have it.
All right, I'll take it over. I mean, yeah, I'll let Kamikaze take the other mic you just turned on at the bottom.
Okay, hello everyone.
All right, let's get settled as a player. We'll see if the one talks as well, plays as well as he talks.
Well, I hope he does. He sat up there for a reason. Juan is a specialist in long nodes and has been for a very long time, playing in the first Mania World Cup in 2014 for the Argentinian team. So you should be able to showcase some long node skills.
Yeah, we'll see if Juan is not too rusty. I know Juan has been a long-standing player, but he's not played too much lately. But we'll see how much he was able to unrust for this very occasion.
We'll see if the veteran still has it, in a way. But yeah, now we're just waiting for Juan to set up his skin. Underjoy also to set up. Of course, we just saw Underjoy in the 7-key showcase against me. That was a really nice match. Closer than I expected, actually. I've always had really good matches against Underjoy.
Yeah, it's an absolute joy to have Underjoy among us.
Yeah, it is.
But anyways,
But yeah, I believe we are getting ready. So we should be getting underway in just a moment.
Yeah, let's just let Underjoy get ready, press the ready button, and our referee Danny PX has actually refereed a fair amount of matches, so refereeing live, that's a whole new experience.
Yeah, refereeing on stage. And the next map we're gonna be seeing is Raymay.
Yeah, Raymay, we've seen that recently in Soft 6. Soft 6, let's tell the story of Soft as a tournament, actually. Soft, Springtime Osu Mania, a free-for-all tournament. I almost forgot the meaning of that acronym, but
yeah, but we're already seeing the long notes, the inverse patterning, which Juan is really good at. But also Underjoy for the Polish team on Mania World Cups often played the LN charts, so I'm expecting good scores from him as well.
Yeah, so we can see here Too Fast For You. Too Fast For You is actually one of the LN carries for the Netherlands versus Juan Cristal, who is the ultimate LN carry for the Argentinian team. And Raymay, a very LN-centric, very LN coordination focused kind of map.
Yeah, we're seeing a fair bit of inverse. Whoa, that 3-column inverse is actually really tricky, because the note on the 4th column is always throwing you out from reading, and it's kind of uncomfortable to play at times. It also gets really dense with those bursts.
Yeah, with this skin it looks especially dense as well.
Yeah.
The thing is, like with those 3 columns, it's a special kind of inverse. It really puts a toll on your fingers. You really have to tension your fingers in a way that you will always hold those those sustains correctly.
Yeah, it's actually usually easier to read full inverse because you're just focusing on the gaps in between notes, and if you have a single column that is not inverse, then it throws off your reading. But yeah, we're getting into the second half of the song. There's some releases, some control.
Yeah, there's a lot of control. There's a fair amount of graces as well that can make some people choke. And as a matter of fact, not all players are on a full combo. Too Fast we actually choked earlier in the map, and it's starting to get a little bit much.
Oh, and Juan also drops combo. He was holding really, really well though.
But yeah, Underjoy a little bit behind, but in the grand scheme of things, not too much. But yeah, the full inverses are actually kind of taking a toll. Maybe because of the LN animation.
It's a different type of playstyle. You basically, when you start learning inverse, you're almost starting to learn how to read the game again from the beginning, because you have to read the gaps in between notes usually instead of just notes.
Oh, I like this next one. This next one is
Oh yeah, this is an exciting shot.
a low-key banger. So our next map is going to be a bit of a speedy one, and we're going to start to see the limits of those players. Actually, we're going to challenge them to actually go as fast as they can. This is Pam, and this is 135 BPM, and translated in terms of speed, you get some 270 BPM jump streams.
Yeah, kind of line patterning, but also it has some anchors which are pretty tricky to hit. So we'll see. Underjoy should be actually really good at this. He's good at the kind of speedy patterning mixed with jacks.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about players and their skill sets. Some players will be inherently better at physicality, and here it kind of shows. Right now, Underjoy is actually sustaining fairly well, but actually Too Fast is actually a little bit more consistent on the accuracy.
Yeah, Too Fast is also really good at this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, the patterns are mostly about speed. They're very, very fast.
Yeah, one is actually kind of starting to lose control over his accuracy. And as a commentator, I would like to kind of share some insight as of where to look at in terms of watching three players at the same time. Basically, we look at the accuracy mainly. You see that one is below 95, Underjoy is almost back at 96, and Too Fast is almost back at 97.
Yeah, at this point, Underjoy is holding the highest combo from all three players. And he's doing rather well, although his score is a little bit lower than Too Fast for You, just because of the accuracy difference.
Yeah, as far as the map itself, we saw a good showcase of a little bit of everything in terms of speed. We saw some repeated notes in a row that we call jacks, and 4 of them in a row we call them quadruple jacks. And here we've got a mixture of light jump stream and jump jacks.
Yeah, those transitions are actually really, really fun to play.
Yeah, sorry. The fact that those streams are actually broken by those transitions actually makes it harder to kind of stop and start between different modes, because you can play Mania in different modes. Basically, you can basically play it in speed mode, jack mode, or I guess accuracy mode, or something else. It's a really rich mode that everyone should at least try once in their lives.
This chart also has a really nice balance of like speed, jacks, and the general control. But yeah.
But yeah, that was very convincing. Actually, I think Too Fast for You took that one.
Yeah, that was a very, very nice score by Too Fast. Oh, and now we're getting into Juan territory.
Oh, we see an interesting map that was actually mapped by one of the players right here, just here. So we've got press start, and shoutouts to the beatmap dominators who are actually taking care of this, because this is actually looking to get ranked pretty soon.
Yeah, this was actually charted for Mania World Cup, I believe, in semifinals 2018 by Juan Crystal. So we see the traditional Juan Crystal speedy LNs with also a lot of control and releases. It's a pretty specific charting style that Juan has and has been known for years.
Yeah, absolutely. We see an increasing amount of density, and this density is only going to increase as long as the song actually builds up to the main drop. Actually,
Yeah, something that is also characteristic of some of Juan charts is anchors. LN anchors are also very present in his charts, which some people just find very uncomfortable, but Juan thrives on that.
yeah. Juan has a very specific type of mapping, and it really shows in this map in particular.
Yeah, so far we're seeing that Juan is holding his own very well with 97.5, and I think he's he is number one so far in the lobby, which is not really surprising considering that shaking my head mapper advantage.
Yeah, mapper's advantage is almost a real thing. It is a real thing for SVs, as we've seen before. I mean, I could have picked my own maps, but it would have been a little bit of a cheat.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a casual spectator, I realize that might be a little bit overwhelming to watch, especially since whoa.
Oh, so we had some issues, I think, on Juan's side.
Wow.
Oh,
We actually
that's interesting.
just witnessed some live technical issues. That's actually
Well, it's just on Juan that,
It had to be playing on my map.
Yeah. They picked Juan's map and look what happened. Blame
Blame
Juan,
Juan.
as always.
Blame one moment I haven't seen in my life.
Oh my god. I cannot believe we're witnessing a Blame Juan moment.
Just
live.
as prophecy foretold. Juan goes on stage, picks his own map, and look what happens.
You know, the stream can just take that so much.
It was too much Juan in one sitting.
Was that the last lap or no? No, we still have a tiebreaker, so one more song. Okay. When you close laser, don't restart it or get the loss.
Right, so we will sort this out in just a moment, and we should be showcasing the tiebreaker.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out what happened, but the thing is, since we're actually testing this live on a new setup, the thing is, this is actually the perfect occasion to kind of test things for bugs, and we might actually have found a bug somewhere.
Yeah.
So the really fun thing is that we get to try and diagnose this kind of bug, kind of in a scuff setup situation, I realize, but well, it is what it is.
Well, the bug is that if there is a Juan map, then you just have to blame him, or otherwise it crashes. You have to preemptively blame Juan.
We found the bug. We found the bug, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot let Juan play a Juan map in a live stage ever again.
You heard it.
The Juan bug we didn't want to encounter.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, I believe we are about ready, so we should be getting underway in just a moment. Okay, so we are starting with Health.
Oh yeah, that's actually a really exciting song. If you didn't know this song before, this song actually bangs so hard.
Yeah, and this is the longer version, the 2020 remaster version, which was mapped, I believe, by Danny PX.
Yeah, it was made by Daddy PX for the occasion of the 4 digits Mania World Cup. I believe the 4th iteration, the latest iteration, the one that France won, you know. And,
And we're already starting with a lot of hybrid patterns, a lot of long notes streams, some sporadic inverses. There's a lot happening on the screen.
yeah, it's actually pretty exciting to see on this laser client. And we really start to see the difference in proficiency between.
There are some really rough bursts here in this section. This is more testing technical ability of players.
But yeah, I kind of want to talk also about the trend of tiebreakers in tournaments. Especially, I know it's been the case in Standard as well, but in Mania we actually like to map our own tiebreakers, kind of custom map a lot. Of course, we make use of a lot of existing maps as it is, but custom mapping is actually a pretty useful device to actually get some excitement out of the players, make them see something new, try to be a little creative in terms of difficulty, gimmicks, patterns, and so on.
Yeah, I think the most prominent custom maps are either SV charts, because SV charts are kind of hard to come by, especially new and exciting ones, and tiebreakers just to curate the difficulty exactly how you want it, and to have a very diverse chart like we see here. You have a lot of long node streams, a lot of shields, a lot of bursts. There's a lot of everything, really.
Yeah, of course, that's what we're looking for. And as map rulers, it's pretty difficult to see to find the map with the right amount of mixture. Well, the right mixture actually, because while it's easy to find maps that have a mixture of skill sets inside, you have to find the map that has the correct amount of skill set that you want, which is pretty difficult to come by. It's actually easier to just custom map things.
Yeah.
And we see that beautiful countdown in the break.
Yeah, and so far Too Fast For You is actually doing really well, although he missed it just as the break ended. Ooh, that stream is rough. Very nice build up to the second half of the song. It's some calm before the storm with a jump stream of some tiny LNs mixed in, just as a preparation for what's gonna come in the second half of the song.
Yeah, this is only the build up for the big drop. And that's a drop that's actually in the extended version, and that drop just doesn't mess around.
Yeah, and we have more jacks now. Building up, still building up.
Okay,
And
let's go.
Here we go. A lot of extremely technical patterns and bursts.
Yeah, it's actually kind of difficult to play on if you're not used to a laser client, and if you don't have a skin that you can actually play on laser, you're actually gonna get bodied.
Yeah,
to say the least.
this looks really rough. But Too Fast For You is holding really well among all of the patterns. He's getting a pretty sizable lead. the only one staying on the S rank right now. And here we have more the LN trills, more LN patterns mixed in with jacks, sporadic trills. There's again just a lot of everything.
But yeah, this is actually really cool to see those players actually playing live in front of us. It's actually kind of a different feeling to see just Mania players playing live in real life actually.
Yeah.
So for those watching at home and who have been watching tournaments played entirely online, it's a pretty different experience. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of LAN tournaments for Osumania. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, I think this has been alluded to in the previous talk actually. The fact that tournaments for rhythm games could actually be entirely organized remotely, but having it in person just kind of adds this dimension of, I guess, humanity.
Yeah. It's always exciting to see players in person and performing in person.
Yeah, so that's why you should come to COE, perhaps next year. Think about booking your tickets already.
So yeah, we have the conclusion, and Too
Yeah.
Fast For You wins the tiebreaker. And overall, very nice scores from everyone around, so huge round of applause for them.
Yes, indeed. And with this, we will be closing this this showcase. This has been a pleasure playing for all of you here. We've played before, and we will play again. We will pass the mic to the players if they want to say something in particular.
Well, maybe not just as a player, but as kind of like the co-host, if you will, for this show match, alongside Danny, who doesn't really want to show himself all that much. Thank you, Too Fast. Thank you, Underjoy. Thank you, Servi. Thank you, Narumi, Patu, Kami, and everyone who was involved here on the backstage as well. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit rough for us. We are not really used to do this kind of things, but I hope we did enough for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you try out Mania. Mania is really fun, and I hope we can see Laser coming out soon for Mania, because the engine really feels a lot better. It's just a matter of fine-tuning a little, and I think it has a lot of potential. So yeah, thank you all for joining, and as a player, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It was very funny. The crash was very funny. It will be recorded in the Mania history, I guess. But yeah, not sure if Too Fast, you want to say something? All right. Well, then I guess we'll close it that way. Again, thank you everyone that is here. Servi, who is on the public bench as well. And yeah, that's it for today at COE 2022. Tomorrow we have a lot of stuff planned, so don't miss it. Don't miss it. The 1v1 tournament is happening tomorrow. So see you.
See you next time.